who go into your room, locked from outside, and when they open, nothing is there. Not a trace of that person. That is, he's not dead, you don't find his body, you don't find his ashes, you don't find anything, he's simply gone because he dematerializes his own physical system. So one who has mastery over the five elements, one who has what we are referring to as Bhuta Shuddhi, can not only integrate, can also disintegrate his own system. Siddhi means a certain accomplishment. There is somebody, if you go to the circus, there is somebody who can juggle 10 balls. It's a kind of accomplishment. Can you do it? You can't do 2. 1 also probably you can't hold properly 10 balls. Magic it is, but it's not magic. It's a certain accomplishment of the body, isn't it? Similarly, there can be certain accomplishments of the mind, certain accomplishments of certain other aspects of the mind. Now somebody can predict, foresee somebody's future, somebody can say something else. It has no consequence. Somebody can heal somebody's disease, it doesn't mean anything. In terms of existential life, it doesn't mean anything. These are all immature things that you're doing because you haven't found the depth. See, for example, in the yoga center where we are, people have put in enormous amount of sadhana. If I allow some of these people to heal people, they will do miraculous healings. If I allow them to predict people's future, they will do a good job. Or if I sit down in Chicago and start predicting people's future, there'll be a huge crowd because I will tell you exactly what will happen, and it will happen. But what consequence is it in terms of life? It's of no consequence. If they do anything like that in the ashram, we not only check them out of the ashram, I will ensure that for his lifetime, he will never know any spirituality, he will be fixed. So before we put them into the sadhana itself, we make it clear, if they ever use these things on anybody, they had it. Because it's a very juvenile and immature act to do such things. These are all sideshows. Now, people keep coming and asking me, but if I go there to that Swami, he does so much miracle, he'll pull out a lingam from his mouth, he will… I don't know from where else, all these things. You don't do any miracles. I tell them, look at the miracle around here. I can show you people who are here who did not get angry for the last 1 year. Very busy people, intensely active, handling hundreds of people, but they didn't get angry for 1 whole year. This is a miracle. This is a miracle that's needed in the world right now. Without a single feeling of hatred, without a single feeling of what about me, they're just doing something. This is a miracle we want to see. You produce this, you produce that, what's the point? We have technology to do all that nonsense, isn't it? Yes, which is doing it more effectively. Somebody produces a watch, somebody produces a lingam, somebody produces something else. What are you going to do with these things? The true miracle that is necessary is human being who is capable of living like an animal, if he is in awareness, if he becomes gentle and beautiful, if he can go through life untouched, if he can go through life spreading around him a pleasantness, you put him in any kind of unpleasant situation, he doesn't become unpleasant, he goes through it pleasantly. This is the miracle we want to see in a human being right now. That's what is needed for the world, isn't it? This is transformation. So, somebody does this, that, it's of no consequence to me. I do not value that in any way. I would… if you want to do this, that, I would rather depend on science and technology, which is much more effective. There are such dimensions, it is not that they don't exist. There are such dimensions through which you can do certain things. But what is the point spending a lifetime getting there? It's not worthwhile. So, don't expect them to be wise. Only because they are not wise, they went after.
Pranam Sadhguru. I have a question about Bhuta Shuddhi. We speak about cleansing of the 5 elements. Cleansing them of what? Why do they become impure? And what is the difference between Panchabhuta Aradhana, which happens on Shivaratri, and the Bhuta Shuddhi process, which we learn as a part of Hatha Yoga?
The 5 elements, just 5, if they have to play so much mischief, it's not 1 or 2 manifestations, trillions of manifestations. If all this has to happen, if it does not acquire other qualities or possibilities, there is no way with 5 you can create so many. They are naturally receptive in nature. The air that you breathe, the food that you eat, the water that you drink. We will leave the other 2 because you don't have much experience of those 2. Today we know we can influence them just with thought, emotion, intention or energy. We can change the quality of the water, we can change the quality of the air and the food that we eat just with our intention or emotion or thought process. So, the 5 elements within you, which makes this body, are deeply, deeply influenced. A certain layer of information which generally referred to as the karmic substance gathers. Without it, the elements would not behave in a particular way within you. It would be same, every human being would have been same if there was no specific information. See, if you eat a banana, you become a woman. The banana becomes a woman. Somebody here eats, it becomes a man. If a cow eats, it becomes a cow. Same banana. Banana is not so intelligent to make itself into a man, woman, cow, whichever animal consumes. It is a certain amount of information within you which transforms a banana into a woman or a man or a cow or an elephant or whatever for that matter. What you call as myself, individual self, is essentially a certain volume of information. And the fundamental way that it is stuck onto you is through the elements, because there is nothing here apart from the elements. So, cleansing it is also about cleansing it and making it free of the accumulated information or the karmic substance. If this is not done, then you will be a strong individual, but you will never know how to breach this boundary that you have set for yourself. This is not some boundary set by the existence, this is a boundary that you set for yourself. If you cannot cross the boundary that you set up, that's a foolish way to live, isn't it? You set up a boundary without knowing why, and you can't cross it after some time. And you start claiming, this is how I am. This is, this is a common statement you hear everywhere. You ask them to cross some limitation, no, this is how I am. This is not how you are, this is what you made yourself to be. Now, cleansing becomes relevant when you want to extend yourself beyond these boundaries, when freedom and liberation becomes the goal of your life. If you want to be a concrete ball, there's no need to cleanse. There's no need to cleanse at all. So, concretization of karmic processes will make you rigid. Rigidity will bring enormous amount of suffering, enormous. You don't need a calamity to happen, you are a calamity by yourself. You do not need any external assistance. It's called self-help. Most people, when it comes to their suffering, they're all on self-help, you know. Nobody need to poke them. When was it last time that somebody physically poked you? Huh? When was it last time? Maybe when you were in school, somebody did this to you. After that, nobody is bothered about doing anything like that. Most of you, almost all of you have never been poked with a dagger or a sword, at the most a pin or a finger, nothing more. But for most of you in the last 10, 15 or 25 years, nobody has ever even poked you with a finger, because everybody is wary of you. Who's So, how much… if you look at the volume of suffering that you go through, anger, fear, hatred, jealousy, whatever else you go through, misery, whatever, how much has been caused from external agencies? How much is caused by you? If you look at it, it is a minuscule percentage which has been caused from external agencies. No, my mother-in-law said this, my boss said that. They are saying what they're saying, but they're not poking you. Physical suffering has not been caused to you from outside unless you're from Middle East. For most of you, such things have not happened, but rest is all your own making. This is simply because the imprint is so deep that you behave in predetermined, compulsive ways. 1,000 times the same situation has happened, but still the next time it happens, you almost react the same way. It takes a certain amount of awareness, certain amounts of shaking you up to respond in a different way. So, what's called Bhuta Shuddhi is to do it in the most fundamental level. If we cleanse your mind, if you clean it in the morning, by afternoon you'll have a whole new world again. It's really waste. This is why no significance or no importance is given in the yogic system towards your psychological structure. What you think, what you feel, they don't care, because if you change it today again, within few hours you'll change it back into something else. We are only interested in the body. This is why yoga calls everything as body. Physical body, mental body, energy body like this, but no mind. Because the psychological activity that's happening, towards which you have given enormous importance, is of no consequence or significance, depending upon the type of information imprinted within you. Whatever is your karma, whatever is your sanskara, that is how you think, that's how you feel, that's how your emotions happen. Everything happens that way. So we are interested in handling the root. If you prune the tree, it will sprout back with vengeance. No point pruning it. If you handle the root, it'll be gone. So the very root of karmic imprint is in the elements. That is the most fundamental space. It takes much more than handling other aspects. So generally, because most people are not interested in absolute transformation, they just want a little change, they don't want to lose themselves. Bhuta Shuddhi means you want to lose yourself. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, beautiful, it doesn't matter, you want to lose everything. that you have built so that the Creator's creation will stand up and shine within you. It'll take a certain amount of work. The Bhuta Shuddhi that's been taught to you is very basic. If you want to do more serious forms of Bhuta Shuddhi, it will mean it becomes your entire life. It's not something that you do on the side. So, even if you do a very minor version of Bhuta Shuddhi, you will see the change that happens in you is permanent. There is no tendency to fall back, and that's important. Otherwise, everybody changes for 3 days and again they fall back into the rut after some time. That will not happen when you assist whatever else you're doing with the Bhuta Shuddhi practice. Nadaradhana, the Panchabhuta Aradhana is another matter, that's a ritual. For those who are not willing to do sadhana, just to give them some benefit. That's the beauty of a ritual, that's the limitation of a ritual. Somebody else can conduct a ritual for you. You don't have to do any sadhana, just sit there and benefit from that. But then only if they conduct, you have it, otherwise you don't have it. Suppose we don't do Panchabhuta Aradhana, you don't have it. So, the ritual is always like this. It is beautiful because people who do not know anything about it, they can still benefit from it. At the same time, if those who conduct do not conduct it properly, it will not happen to you. If they do not conduct it at all, it will never be available to you. But if you do Bhuta Shuddhi practice by yourself, if you're willing, you can keep it up and you will see as time progresses, its impact is undeniable. Above all, whatever it does, however small the practice is, whatever it does, there is no turning back. That's a very important aspect of Bhuta Shuddhi. If you… let's say 6 months you do asana, another 1 year you give it up, everything will be back as it was. 6 months you did pranayam, if it's a powerful process like Shakti Chalana Kriya, if you did, its impact will be there, but after a certain period of time, if you don't do it for a certain period of time, again it'll turn back. You meditate, you do shunya meditation for some time, if you don't do it for a certain period of time, slowly it'll turn back. But that is not the nature of Bhuta Shuddhi. Bhuta Shuddhi if you do, nothing seems to be happening because it's very fundamental and it's slow. But whatever happens, it will not turn back. It stays with you. As long as you hold this body, it stays with you, it will not go because it's on a very fundamental level. That's the significance of Bhuta Shuddhi.
Today, being the Shivaratri, the darkest night of the 28-day lunar cycle, this is also a significant day in terms of what happens in the different stratas of the planet. It is not just the darkness of the night. Generally, in the tradition, it is said that the planet, Mother Earth, broods on this day. On this night, she doesn't sleep, she broods. Or in other words, the intensity of the activity of the 5 elements in the planet are in a way kind of much more intense. It is the elements, the 5 elements need to be constantly integrated. The very forces of life, the dynamics of the movement of the planet and the other forces of life are constantly trying to dismantle the integrity of the five elements as a combination of creation. It is on this night that Mother Earth tries to integrate herself, get these five elements into a more integral activity, or it is kind of brought together in much more forceful way than other nights or other days. So these 24 hours, starting from this evening till or a little more than 24 hours, usually the Amavasya lasts for 30 to 32 hours in this period. The intensity of the elemental activity or the way they integrate themselves is much more. It has been noticed that if you germinate a seed in a certain controlled conditions on different days of the lunar month, on this day, the germination slows down for these 24 hours. The way the plant grows slows down because the elements are busy maintaining themselves. They do not contribute much to the growth of the plant because the soil, the whole planet, is trying to integrate itself on this day. This is a fantastic natural process that is happening on the planet, and this is also a fantastic opportunity for one who is aware to use this as a way to integrate his own system, to integrate the five elements in his own body. How these five elements behave within you will determine just about everything. Shiva, who is referred to as Bhuteshwara, attained what is called as Bhuta Shuddhi, that is complete mastery over the five elements. Anyone who has attained to Bhuta Shuddhi can dematerialize his own body. You have heard of yogis who go into your room locked from outside, and when they open, nothing is there. Not a trace of that person. That is, he is not dead, you don't find his body, you don't find his ashes, you don't find anything, he's simply gone because he dematerializes his own physical system. So one who has mastery over the five elements, one who has what we are referring to as Bhuta Shuddhi, can not only integrate, can also disintegrate his own system. It recently happened. I don't want to name the place because then all of you will start making a tour to that place. It so happened that recently someone who had a Linga Bhairavi yantra in their home found this was kept in a place where there's no room for any kind of water to come, but they found lots of water upon the yantra and around the yantra. It is just that one life which does not belong to that family made use of this energy to dematerialize, completely dematerialize and disappear. All that you have is a little pool of water. You can even dematerialize that water so that even water is not left. Somebody did the job little inefficiently. So the body is gone, everything is gone, just a little pool of water left. If you are 50 kgs of weight, or if you're… let's talk about reality. If you're 100 kgs of weight, no, it's easy to… anywhere between 70 to 72 kgs is just water. So he did not leave 70 kgs of water or 70 liters of water. Either he was a small person or part of the water was dematerialized, part was left. So they had so much water, they couldn't believe where this water came from, and a miracle has happened and all that. I said, shut up and clean up the place. So, nobody is taking note of the fantastic miracle that's happening every day in making of the body. The air that you breathe is becoming body, isn't it, in many ways? The water that you drink is becoming body. Nobody takes note of such a miracle. But somebody disintegrates, that's a miracle. They did not even think so. A pool of water around Bhairavi yantra, that's a miracle for them. I said, take note of the real miracle that's happening every day. If you miss this miracle, you will never get to know what that miracle is. So, Panchabhuta Aradhana, for those of you who either go in or you stay out, it doesn't matter. It is creating a powerful possibility in the space for the whole month, not just for that day, where you can integrate your system, you can allow the five elements in your body to bind much better. Isn't it doing well right now? From one body to another, there's a very big difference as to how these five elements are integrated. How well integrated determines a lot of things about that person, almost everything, I would say. And if this body has to become a foundation, a stepping stone for a bigger possibility, not a hurdle, if that has to happen, it's very important the system is properly integrated. The Bhuta Shuddhi, which is the basic form of yogic practice, which all of you in many forms are practicing in different levels of intensity and involvement, but all of you, whatever yoga you're doing, in some way you're doing some form of Bhuta Shuddhi. If this is done properly, the elements are sufficiently purified, then the binding becomes better. Being in the Dhyanalinga temple does a phenomenal job of integrating the system. Not just on the surface level. Health does not mean, oh, my pulse rate is okay, my blood pressure is okay, my sugar levels are okay. Yes, they are only a consequence. The real thing is, if the five elements are well integrated and they're functioning in perfect cohesion within themselves, within the system, then there is just no need for anybody to worry about their what medical diagnosis is saying, because if the elements are functioning well and strongly integrated, it just happens by itself. If you learn to integrate it consciously, we could also someday, when it's needed, teach you to disintegrate it so that you will save us the burial or cremation. You will save some labor, it's good, you know. So, we would like to pitch up the Panchabhuta Aradhana to a different level of experience, just becoming reverential towards all the elements, the earth that you walk upon, the air that you breathe, the water that you drink, the food that you eat, and the space in which you're living. To become reverential towards that, to walk gently, look upon the five elements as the basis of who you are right now, to bring that awareness into the system. So please bring that reverence into you about all the elements that you're in touch with. This moment what you're in touch with, don't worry about, oh, Ganga Mata, no. People do Ganga Mata when they're on the banks of Ganga, not here. Here, the very water that you drink from your cup, the air that you breathe, the earth that you walk upon, the food that you eat, the water that you drink, just being reverential towards that and keeping the fire up, you should be suitable.